Hello everyone, my name is Skylar and I'm doing a case study on my brother. Um, he didn't want me to use his name, so I'll keep that to myself. But he has a diagnosis of PTSD, anxiety, depression, and schizophrenia. His symptoms include insomnia, anger issues, short temper, lack of appetite, auditory hallucinations, visual hallucinations, depression, and anxiety. He is not currently on any medication. However, he has been on the past, on and off, for all of his diagnoses. And the way he copes with all of this is staying busy with work. He works in a warehouse, which is physical labor, which is what he likes to do. He stays busy with the family. He's got kids of his own, a girlfriend, and then the rest of the family. He also does therapy whenever needed, on and off. So a little backstory of what contributed to all of his illnesses is quite a lot. He had a rough childhood growing up. So as a child, he had an abusive father who was very mean to our mother. He used to beat her. He was on drugs and alcohol. It was not good to the kids. So our mother got my brother and my other brother out of the house. They moved a few times. This was before me, and eventually remarried, and then I came along. After she remarried, my father, my brother's stepfather, was not a nice person either. He wasn't on drugs or alcohol, but he was still physically abusive to all of us kids, mentally, emotionally, you name it. He was not a good person. So there was a lot of conflict between my brother and my father. So growing up, he got into a lot of fights at school, very angry, short-tempered. He had a lot of anxiety and depression. So this all stemmed back from when he was a child. Schizophrenia had not yet shown its face. That'll come in about when he's in high school. But before he even gets to high school, he has already tried to run away to get away from his stepfather. And the conflict got so bad that he was sent off to a boys and girls town, which is for troubled youth, if you would. They're supposed to help them, and they stay there for however long. I think he was gone about 9 months to a year. And during this time he was gone, he had been raped repeatedly. He doesn't remember if anyone was ever charged or held accountable, but that left him with PTSD. So to this day, he still struggles with that. So when he came home back to his stepfather, my father, nothing had changed. Still physically, emotionally, socially, or emotionally abusive. Just wasn't good. The fights picked up at school. They got much, much worse. He was expelled at least twice a year. But he finally had enough and stood up to him and said, "Hey, I'm done with this. I don't like what you're doing." And it made things much worse. He also stood up to him when he found out that my father was sexually abusing me. So he said, "Hey, it's not okay. You can't be doing that." So then in turn, my father got a court order, kicked him out of the house, and made it where he can't see me anymore. And at the same time, our grandfather had just died and the birth of his first daughter just happened. So all right around the same time frame. So there's a lot of stressors. So then my parents got divorced at the same time, and we also moved about 5 different times. Not seeing my brother for a couple years was really hard. It was hard on the both of us. Not being able to see him graduate high school was rough. Not being able to see my niece, not living in the same home together was really hard for the both of us. And that made his depression and anxiety plummet. And this is when his schizophrenia really started to show its face. It was not good. He just was not social anymore. He started turning to drugs and alcohol. He got really, really skinny, lost a bunch of weight. He was in and out of rehab quite a few times, tried several different medications for all of his mental illnesses. Nothing seemed to be working. And then he finally started making better choices, stopped hanging out with such bad people, got off the drugs and alcohol, completed rehab, found some other medications that helped his mental illness, regularly went to therapy to help work through all of his problems, especially his PTSD from when he was a child. So all of those things seem to help him and help him move forward, and where he is a productive, stable person today. You don't see him struggling with his mental illness like he used to when he was a teenager. He has a steady job, he's got a home, a vehicle, he can see his kids, we can see each other again. So I think having that family back together was really beneficial for him, and getting out of all those bad situations were beneficial for him. So most of his mental illness is from his childhood, which was unfortunate. He just got served a bad deck of cards, but he was able to turn that around and make a positive life. So I hope this goes to show for other people who are struggling with mental illness, how people like my brother, who didn't have a great childhood growing up, was able to turn it around and live a healthy, productive lifestyle. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.